Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. After seeing Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids 3D at the cinema as a kid, I became completely obsessed with 3D movies and tried to see as many as I could. Around about the same time, DreamWorks decided to release their Universal Studios 3D film experience Shrek 4D on DVD, and I grabbed at the chance to see this thing, only to feel let down afterwards. But is it really that bad? Well, let's put on our 3D glasses and find out. In Shrek 4D, Shrek and Fiona are on their way to their honeymoon, while being accompanied by Donkey. Unfortunately, out of the blue, Felonious kidnaps Fiona for the ghost of Lord Farquaad. It turns out that Farquaad wants to kill Fiona to make her his queen in the afterlife. It's up to Shrek and Donkey to rescue her, with a little help from Dragon. Shrek 4D clearly put the idea of making a fun theme park ride before a good Shrek film, which is quite understandable considering the whole purpose of the project. But the fact that DreamWorks released it on DVD does mean that they want it to be appreciated as a short film too. And herein lies the problem. Shrek 4D just isn't a very good film, and I can honestly see why I was disappointed by it as a kid. First of all, while the 3D effects can be immersive and screen-popping, they do cause problems for the movie itself. For example, after Fiona is kidnapped, Shrek and Donkey end up in a graveyard, and Shrek stops to tease Donkey's fears by wriggling his chubby green fingers into the audience's eyes. This really bugs me, because you'd think that Shrek would be too concerned about Fiona's safety to waste time winding up Donkey. Sure, Shrek has a sense of humour, but he wouldn't put his wife's life on hold just to spook out Donkey. Was it really worth stopping the narrative to have Shrek poke us in the eyes? No, not really, and it takes away a lot of urgency. The story is very stupid too. Why is Farquaad so adamant to make Fiona his bride in the afterlife? What would he gain from royalty as a ghost? And didn't he stop feeling attracted to her once she turned out to be an ogre? It's all really dumb and out of character. Did the makers of Shrek 4D even watch the first Shrek? It also confuses me why Donkey is even on Shrek and Fiona's honeymoon trip. You'd think that Shrek would tell him to get lost if he tried to tag along. It's obviously a contrived excuse to have the whole Donkey and Shrek dynamic in the film, which quite annoys me, because Donkey is at his most irritating in this Shrek story. Usually, I find some level of comedic charm to Donkey's ability to naively aggravate other characters, but here, he's just plain frustrating to listen to.
Okay, I'm not afraid.
Fiona!
I can do this. I'm a noble steed. It's all right. It's just a park with no children and no playground. Shrek! Shrek!
The pacing for the film is pretty awful too. Because everything is in service of the theme park ride experience, the story has to keep racing forward to help audiences retain a high-octane feeling. But this doesn't translate well into good animation storytelling, because it ends up rushing the adventure and creates an obnoxiously fast rhythm. We rarely get a moment to breathe or appreciate what's happening, as the short is already rapidly hopping on to the next sequence. Shrek 4D's humour is very lackluster as well. I swear that 97% of the jokes are just callbacks to gags or one-liners made in the first movie.
Well, looks like Farquaad's still trying to compensate for something. I wonder what that could be. That must be Lord Farquaad's castle.
That's the place.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something? Fiona!
Come on, baby, let's go home. Let's go home and make some waffles. Thank you!
What are you... No!
Oh, this is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
It made me cringe watching these characters rehash the same things they said in Shrek, because it implies that the filmmakers were too lazy to come up with new jokes. It's clear that they thought referencing jokes audiences would recognise from the first film could compensate for the lack of fresh new comedy, but it just makes Shrek 4D less of its own thing. I'd rather be given new comedy material than watch a movie make nudges and winks to other popular Shrek jokes. Some jokes only work in 3D too, like this one.
Gotcha! Wow, this 3D is pretty cool.
Hey!
I saw into another dimension. Oh, for the love of Pete!
If you're watching this short in 2D, which is an option on the DVD, then this joke completely misfires and just becomes weirdly awkward. At the end of the day, most 3D movies are just silly gimmicks best suited for theme park rides or simulation booths. If a movie is only entertaining with the aid of glasses while watching it, then it's clearly missing something and will struggle to be appreciated outside the novelty experience. To be honest, the only thing I liked about Shrek 4D as a film was the awesome chase between Donkey's dragon and a dragon statue possessed by Farquaad's ghost. It's a thrilling sequence, with the visuals being amped up through wild imagery and cinematic visuals. Sure, it's all in service of the 3D effects and theme park ride experience, but it's still very fun to watch. To conclude, Shrek 4D is a stupid, incompetent, lazy and cringy short film. Not even the fancy 3D effects can compensate for how bad it is. I can imagine that it's best experienced as a theme park ride. These are giving me a headache now. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to support me on my Patreon. It'd be greatly appreciated if you can make a pledge. Thank you. I'd also like to remind everyone that this year marks my 5th anniversary on YouTube. To celebrate, I'm going to be holding a countdown, where you decide the entries. If you want to take part in this project, then head over to the link in the description box below. Cheerio, folks.